Good afternoon. It's only a few minutes past noon, and I was delayed helping to feed the pigs and collecting even more pumpkins for them. So that was a fun task, and there's more to be done later. But if you were standing side by side with me, you'd get a kick out of it because these pigs are not aggressive. They've all been socialized, and they just love getting set. They love eating these pumpkins. So uh, I've gone out late enough to hear that Bob Dole died at 98 years of age, either last night or this morning. And as a fellow who is wed to the Democratic Party, a genetic Democrat, I was most of my life on the other side of the issue that Dole was ever on. That said, when he'd run for president and he'd left the Senate, I had cause to deal with him. I was chief of staff to Congresswoman Zoe Lofgren from Silicon Valley. And we worked together on a project to honor the vets. And as you know, he was a hero in World War II. And he had a tremendous challenge of rehabilitation, which he cared about as well. So he was not a simple black and white person. He was a much more complicated person, even as a legislator. But when I got to see him caring about the vets, a very pure issue for him, he was very engaging, very helpful, and I don't know, just an all-around good person. And you may have seen him in ads as he got older, sort of making fun of himself a little bit. And he was as active as he could be into his later years. So he's one of these people that had honest disagreements, but he could be pretty brutal. And he and his wife, Mrs. Dole, worked on her campaign together, but she couldn't get the nomination. So he's a person that will be missed from the stage because he could be a rational leader in the grand old party the way the Republican Party once was. Now, there's talk about still the Supreme Court argument the other day involving Mississippi's rule about abortion, limiting it to 16 weeks. And in that context, some have said, Sotomayor wasn't talking to the people in the room, that is, in the courtroom, and by extension, what she was doing, she was talking to the people of America and talking about the stench that would remain if the choice of law should appear to be political hacks just appointed to the court who would offer no legal insights, but were there only to deliver in a transactional analysis that they got the nomination and were confirmed to the Supreme Court so they could do the bidding of, in this case, 3 of them for Trump. And Associate Justice Breyer spoke about this as well. I noticed that so did the Republicans. That is to say, Kavanaugh, in a way, was a lead, saying, well, what do former precedents mean? Look at these ones that we've reversed. Okay, but those were more complicated in certain ways. And when you do that, you're playing to the ignorance of the crowd in the legal sense. That is, that they don't know exactly how and when, under what circumstances, narrowly defined by precedent and other cases, that a precedent may itself be overturned. And that may sound like a lot of gobbledygook, but in other words, it is a disciplined, reasoned way following upon how we've made law in courts forevermore, going back to Anglo-Saxon law. In fact, much of what we picked up from England, against whom we revolted, was this method of law. Ask Thomas Jefferson if you run into him. So I think that what we saw in terms of the presentation is the Republicans on the court were more desperate and pushing and trying to offer explanations to the public. I think in that public debate, they lost. And I think that the senators pushing back the commission report and others pushing back can still make a big difference on this question. I posted something on Twitter today about the 13th Amendment, which is basically against slavery and involuntary servitude. And isn't it involuntary servitude if the government requires a woman against her will to have a child she doesn't want and to bear it to term. How is that different than the slaves that were being addressed by that very amendment, the 13th Amendment? I think it should be used in court. I think we should win the midterms and write some laws using that. The badges and incidents of slavery exist in this nation, and let's once and for all address and redress them. Now, I'm excited about Georgia because I think that Stacey Abrams, who has added 1.8 million voters since she lost in 2018, running for governor before, is running again. I think that's important. And we also have, if you remember, Warnock ran in a special election. He's a person of color and a reverend, and he's now up because the special election meant he just finished the term. So the two of them are running at the same time. He was a very good vote getter in the last go round, not so long ago, when Trump was doing everything he could to lie about the results for him. So I think that's really good. I think that's very helpful to us. Another predictable thing that's happened is we've revisited the statistics on the virus. And if you've heard, you know that the virus is going wild in those states, red states, that are dissing the value of vaccination and booster shots. That's a shame and a disgrace. I mean, politically, they're damaging their own constituency. What kind of leader does that? Isn't the first choice of a leader to take care of those people that entrust to them representation of that group for the better? And here they are representing them for the worse, for hurt. I've also have a podcast I've put together, and I have to look at it, but or hear it rather, it's only audio, and it's about heroes. And this first one, this is actually the second one. I did one on an outstanding lady who's a lawyer, but this is non-law. The theory is we should talk about what a person does that makes them so exceptional, that they show courage, that they show discipline, that they do something out of the ordinary, that it causes us to be inspired by their conduct, that they would do this thing. And this is about Sondheim, who recently died, who was a leader in the musical business and arts, and DeJamin Bartlett, who sang one of his songs on Broadway in 1973 and has had a very full career since then. And what I've done is I've asked DeJamin to describe how she got to the things she did. And I know her as a kid. We actually dated when I was, I guess I was college age, and I think she was studying at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. And I went to see her show on Broadway. So you might get a kick out of that. And I think I'm going to do these things from time to time as an escape from the daily withering, terrible ups and downs of our partisan and intense bickering that goes on, seemingly without making any advances toward a goal that we can all embrace. And so here I am in my cathedral of trees on Sunday, pitching woo. I don't know if I know what that means, but anyhow, talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.